Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you. It's the podcast yet again.
We back.
Pudge is tired as heck.
I'm a little tired.
I caught you sleeping.
I took a schnoozle for just a second.
I was on the phone talking to my girlfriend after worship team practice, and in that time, Pudge managed to fall himself asleep.
I'm fully embracing old man-ness.
Early to bed, early to rise, sort of.
Well,
sort of
that
spiel.
and I'm just gonna fall asleep wherever I sit. In public, doesn't matter. I'm gonna fall asleep.
I
here.
too have a gift for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It could be like the loudest.
I
like
actually
train.
I feel like I sleep better like in a loud environment where it's just like constant like people talking, but like a mass of people.
Right. I think it creates like that white noise wash because we both sleep with fans.
The only way to sleep.
Yeah. If you don't sleep with a fan, you're a maniac.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Especially if you're married.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't even imagine because here's the thing. I'm going to tell a little story here.
Yeah.
I would go to, well, I guess I'll rephrase. Anytime my family and I travel, I always get stuck if we're in a hotel room. It's like my sister in one bed with my mom and then my dad and I in a bed. Because I don't want to sleep in the same bed as my sister. That's weird.
Yeah.
We're too close in age.
We're adults now.
We're adults.
So I sleep with my dad.
Yeah. Or if we go on like a hunting trip, like
Yeah.
we've gone to Wyoming a few times, and we normally split that journey up into 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So we're staying in a hotel. I'm not going to sleep with any of the other dudes that we go with.
That's true.
So I'll bunk with my dad. He's the worst person to sleep with. The worst. He snores so loudly. He farts, just hotboxes me all night. But a few times I have forgotten to bring a fan, and it's the worst. I don't know how you can fall asleep like that.
That's when you have to make an emergency Walmart run.
Yes,
And
yes.
we, our family, everyone sleeps with fans. And we went on a cruise. This has been 4 years ago now. And we couldn't or didn't want to. I don't remember how that worked. Anyway, we were flying down. And flying with a fan is a little difficult.
Yeah. Where are you going to put it? Put it in the carry-on?
Yeah. And so we didn't necessarily plan our flights around this, but we made sure we had enough time when we got to Florida before we had to get on the boat that we could go find a Walmart or a Home Depot to all buy new fans to take with us on the ship. Because I think what it was is we would had to have taken an extra bag, and it would have been more expensive to pack our own fans than just to buy new fans when we got down there.
Wow. And then you just got rid of them at the end of the trip?
I think so. I don't remember what we did.
You just chucked them overboard, probably.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. To the fishes, I say.
And that was actually one of my non-negotiables when I got married was, listen, it's going to be worse on our marriage if I try to sleep without a fan because I won't sleep.
Right.
So you're just going to have to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And she has gotten used to it. She sleeps with a fan on even if I'm like out of town. So I feel like I've won.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's also part of my contract.
You have to learn how to sleep with a fan.
Yeah.
I think it's like, how do people, like, it's so quiet, it's loud to me. Like,
Right.
whenever I don't have a fan,
Yeah.
I'm trying to sleep.
You hear like what goes on inside your ears.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're in like a super, super quiet room and you're just sitting there and it's almost like distractingly loud inside your own head.
Yeah.
You know, all the voices and things.
Right.
No, just like that. I think like some mild tinnitus. Is that how you say it?
Oh, yeah.
Tetanitis?
I think so. Tonight.
I just have just from drumming because my left ear has gone completely deaf 2 times for like 45 minutes each time. One time I was throwing firecrackers at a friend of mine. We were throwing firecrackers back and forth at each other. And I had bent down to pick one up off the ground that I had dropped. And right when I stood up, he had thrown one and it went off right by my ear
Ooh.
and made me go deaf for like about 45 minutes in my left ear. And then another time I was playing with my band at a talent show and I was in a cage, one of those plexiglass cages that go around a drum set. And I forgot to bring earplugs and there was just a monitor in there. And it was like fine until I started like crash riding on the cymbal and it was just like, and it went deaf.
Yeah.
So
that's a terrible feeling.
When your ear goes deaf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it a couple times. The first time that happened has caused like everything else. I got in a pillow fight at church camp.
Oh no.
And the dude just absolutely whacked me across on my left side of my head. And it hit my ear and like it was almost like concussion, like sort of impact is like, you know. And it just, I mean, instantly just bing, I couldn't hear anything.
Did it pop your eardrum?
I don't really know because I didn't go get it checked out. I just, mainly because it was like the second day of camp and I didn't want to leave. So I just kind of wrote it out.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know what the condition would be, but like if I listen to music or any sound like at certain pressures or decibels, my left ear just goes static. Like it hits it and it's like, I don't know how to explain it better than that, but it's really like, especially with in-ears, if we're doing a night of worship or it actually happened Christmas time, in-ears are just headphones you put in when you play music and you can monitor things. But for too long, it starts doing that and it actually affects me being able to like find the pitch and singing and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of annoying, but
I have a similar thing that happens to mine. It just drops. Like I don't hear as well out of it. It like goes deaf a little bit. Like a certain frequency will hit it, and it's almost like there's a compressor on it.
Really,
that just like whoop, brings it back down, then it goes back up after like a couple seconds.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't either.
It's not worth getting checked out.
No,
though.
I don't want to. Like, if I were to go like like deaf in that ear, I might go get it looked at. Of course, at that point, it might be too late. But
it was the strangest thing. I got junk mail, but it didn't look like junk mail. It looked like an envelope sent from somebody, and that's all it was. Just an envelope addressed to me, and it was an advertisement, just a single piece of paper folded up in there for hearing aids. I'm 23. I don't think it's time yet for hearing aids.
They probably just saw your first name and thought you were an old man.
Donald. This guy's obviously 87.
Right.
That's true. I have a very old man name, which
You
is
do.
why I go by either Don or Donnie.
So like, I feel like names are kind of like not age specific, but there's some names that when you hear them, you automatically think like, oh
yeah.
And I was trying to tell Allie, like when I get old, I feel like going by Jordan is going to be weird.
Yeah.
But I have two middle names. So I have Robert and William to fall back on. So I have Robert, I have William, I have Bob, I have Bill, Bobby, Billy, I don't remember what else, Rob. So I have all that I could fall back on if I need to be.
You just blew my mind. I don't think I knew that you had.
You didn't know I had two middle names? Really?
No.
Wow.
Man, what are they?
Robert William.
Robert William.
I have to go with my grandpa's.
I think you should just go by Robert William. I think it's a pretty cool name.
Robert William.
Robert William.
They put him in that order specifically, my parents did, because if it was William Robert, it could be Billy Bob.
Oh, you don't want that.
I was like, I'm disappointed now. Like as a kid, I get like I might have got made fun of or something, but like now,
do you like Billy Bob?
I'm like, man, I wish it could be Billy Bob.
That's a pretty cool name to have when you're old. When you're super old.
I don't really think I fit a Billy Bob.
Not right now. Give it 30 years and maybe.
Yeah. So that's my plan. Allie isn't on board with me going by Rob or Bob or Bill or Billy or Willie. Willie, I didn't even think about Willie.
Yeah, Willie's a little weird. I don't like that one.
Willie?
Yeah. I have a nice name to mature into. I feel like when I hit like 35, 40, I'll start going by Don.
Yeah.
I think I can hang on to Donnie until about 35 or 40.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit before that. Maybe 30 would be the cutoff.
I still call my uncle Donnie.
Mm.
Uncle Donnie.
But then after that, it'll be Don. For middle age, it'll be Don. And then when I'm old, an old man, it'll be Donald.
That's fair.
So I do like that.
Yeah.
That transition. But I was at the Cheesecake Factory with my girlfriend and her family, and I'd got a beer, and the waitress took my ID, and like I heard her go under her breath, Donald. And then she handed my card back to me. He was like, rude. I heard that. I heard you.
I thought you're trying too hard with your fake ID.
That was pretty good. Your voice is going, dude.
I know.
Something happened in worship team practice tonight that you hit a note and I just like, I heard it like fry really bad.
Yeah.
Like a vocal fry.
So hopefully, like my ears, that's not going to be a thing that comes back to haunt me.
Yeah.
Especially since that's kind of my job right now.
Yeah. Hopefully you're better by Sunday. It's Thursday now.
Yeah.
You should go on vocal rest tomorrow.
I'm going starting right now. Have fun.
Okay.
Hold it down by yourself.
I couldn't do it, man.
You could do your characters that you do.
Oh no, I don't want to talk about that. I guess I have to now.
Yeah.
So I've been narrating audiobooks while job hunting for a career. And I've been narrating audiobooks in my spare time. The current one that I'm doing, which I can't say the title of yet, it has a wide genre of characters, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
There is an Indian man, and there's a few Chinese people, and I'm having a very hard time with the accents because I do not do them well. So I feel like it's extremely racist. But it's how it's written in the book.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And do you do female?
Yeah. Female, like I actually enjoy doing like the female parts that don't laugh at me yet. Just because I do enjoy like it's if you never
Like playing character.
Yeah, like just sit down one day with a book and just read it out loud.
Yeah.
But try to give each of the different characters like their own voice. It doesn't have to be like a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the female parts, I just typically give my voice a little bit more air and speak in a little bit of a higher register. I don't change anything drastically.
Yeah.
I'm not like going up to a falsetto or anything. I'm just changing it, and then like the female lead in this book is like very smart and intellectual, so I'm like talking very precisely and that sort of stuff. So I really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fun. But every time I get to one of the Chinese or the Indian character, I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to be received because I've listened to different audiobooks. A good example would be The Martian. They made the movie based off of that book with Matt Damon. But one of my favorite audiobook narrators, R.C. Bray, who is absolutely fantastic, he narrated that book, and there's an Indian character in that book. Mm-hmm. One of the scientists is Indian, and he doesn't do a great Indian accent.
Yeah.
But as you're listening to the book, you just kind of accept it and you forgive it and you move on and you don't let it take away from the story. So that's how I'm hoping that this will be received and not that I'm just a massive racist.
Right.
Because I'm not, I promise. Well, I got a few things here for this podcast.
All right.
So I just got a couple questions, or maybe I'll save these for another one. Since you're pretty tired, I don't want to get, these are all like kind of deep questions.
Oh boy.
I don't want to get into anything that's super deep. I do have a couple of these questions that are not that deep. Okay, we'll start with this one. Would you rather live your entire life in a virtual reality where all your wishes are granted, or in the real world? So would you rather live completely immersed in a reality that you know is false, but anything that you want is given to you or in this life right now?
I'm gonna say real world.
Why?
Well, like it sounds super corny or whatever, but like I'm married in the real world and I kind of like my wife.
Yeah,
Um,
makes sense.
Yeah, I think.
I don't think that's corny.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely like look at different time periods of my life and be like, oh yeah, I totally would have done the virtual reality thing, but like you know that you're in the virtual reality.
Yeah.
So like you know things are not real, but you're still experiencing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like right now, I would say real world. But I don't know. It would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with you. I would also choose real world. I think I wouldn't want to live right now. Like when I die, I would love to go to heaven.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Spend the rest of eternity with Jesus. But right now, I don't want a perfect world. I would like a little less struggle than what I'm experiencing right now, personally. But I do think out of struggle breeds character and
Biblical.
and it builds you up and it makes you a better person.
Yeah.
So I do think that struggle is good. Also, there's a really good book that I've talked about before on this podcast called The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect. And I know you're tired, and I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
If this puts you just straight to sleep.
You're good.
But basically, this computer becomes all-powerful. It's an AI, artificial intelligence. It becomes all-powerful. It learns to manipulate matter outside of itself. So it learns how to build its own processors and build them faster and better. And it just kind of duplicates and duplicates and duplicates itself. And it gets more powerful and more powerful and more powerful. But it is bound by the 3 laws of robotics. A robot may not harm a human. A robot may not, in action, cause a human to be harmed. And a robot may not violate the first or cause itself to be harmed unless it violates the first 2 laws. So it's bound by that. So it sees, like, it's able to see everything because it's all powerful, and it looks and it sees a woman in a nearby hospital to where it is currently located, the computer, and it sees inside of her body and it sees that she has cancer. So it, because it can manipulate matter outside of itself, it takes those cancer cells and it just deletes them, heals her. And then it basically grows up to be so big that it takes a copy of the entire everything universe within itself, makes a copy of it within itself, and deletes the real world. So there's nothing left in reality, like physical reality, other than this computer just floating in nothingness.
Yeah.
And everything is inside the computer. And nobody dies anymore. Anything that you want is given to you. And the whole plot of the story is like that woman that he cured her cancer. She never really accepted that she was in the computer. Like, she knows that she is, but she doesn't like it. Like, she wants to die someday. So it's like this whole book is like her fighting against the computer.
Okay.
It's really interesting. So I think that it would be nice to be in a reality that just everything is given to you for a little bit. But I think after, like, if you're immortal in that reality, I think after maybe like 100 years, 200 years, you start to kind of reject that a little bit. And I think just human nature as itself would want something different. I think it's in our nature to die.
Yeah.
And move on to the next thing. So that's my opinion on that. All right, we'll move on from that and we'll go to, I got this thing. I got a few different things for this podcast here. And it's a good thing I did since you're so tired. You're cruising though.
Yeah.
I commend you for it. But we got best church signs ever. Ever. Not ever. That's just what I wrote.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to find some pretty funny church signs because I enjoy it when churches throw up something whimsical on their sign.
Yeah.
You know?
Not just like,
like preaching on Matthew.
Right. Like,
27.
Give me something that I'm going to giggle at driving down the road.
Yeah. I'm much more likely to step into your church if if your sign makes me giggle.
Yes. Make me giggle and goes a long way. I was not really sure where I was going to go
It's
with
okay.
that. So
You get a pass today on this episode. You get a pass.
I don't know why. I have not, like this whole week, I have not slept well at all.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is your sleep apnea back?
I don't think so. I mean, I was supposed to have an appointment tomorrow, but I had to reschedule with that same doctor. But I figured I kind of want to redo the in-home study now that I've lost 46 pounds.
Yeah.
Because since, again, like you said, since it's a mild case, I'm hoping that kind of took care of it, because I've tried, like every night I try to use that machine that he gave me. And every night I don't, like, I'm not consciously doing it, but I rip it off. And like I wake up and it's just on the floor or wherever. So it's not really doing much for me. So I don't know. But like last night I was up till probably 2:30 or so, just like awake, couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times.
Like I text you or
you either text me or you tweet at like like 1 a.m. I'm like, what is he doing up?
I go through spurts where I just don't sleep very well.
Yeah.
And then I'll like basically get to the point where I'm so tired that I will sleep amazing for like the next 2 months. But anywho, enough about me.
I'm sorry, man. That really sucks.
No, it's all good.
You were doing
life's good.
Besides that, life is good.
Yeah.
You were having like a really good stretch.
Yeah.
I feel like you were just achieving all these really sweet goals.
Yeah.
And like milestones.
Yeah.
I feel like you still are.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm still feeling good. I think part of it too is I get anxiety at night. Like that's my, like at this point I kind of know what's going to trigger something. And it's at night is when I start feeling it. And I don't know exactly necessarily the cause behind it, but I know when it's coming. And so I thought that coming out of the Christmas season, like that's my just absolutely crazy time of work. Coming out of that, like it'd be like, like kind of a deep breath sort of thing. But it's actually been kind of the opposite. And I'm not really sure what's causing that. So.
Have you ever thought about getting on like a low dose of Xanax or something?
I thought about it. And like, I'm not against it at all. Like, but it's just one of those, part of it is I need to find a doctor that I like. Because my current one, I really don't want to go to.
What's his name or her name? You don't have to say it. You probably shouldn't. Probably get sued.
Dr. Crentist.
Is he a dentist?
Dentist.
You're a dentist?
That's funny. Yeah, so I mean, part of it's that. Part of it too is like, it's like I don't feel like it's consistent enough to like warrant that. But when it is, like when it does come, it's annoying. So like, maybe having something would help. I did take one thing one time that somebody, like one of my family members had, that it's the doctor told him, just take this in case like an emergency, you just really can't calm down. And this was before, probably around Thanksgiving time. I was having anxiety attacks when I got home from work. And so I got home and took one. And the prescription is actually for a girl. And they told her, like, only take half because it's pretty strong. And I was like, well, little, I'm big. Like, I'll just take the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I took the whole thing. And I get home from work about 5:15. By 6:30, I was absolutely passed out on the couch.
Oh, man.
Like, I kind of like vaguely remember things like waking up and like kind of sitting up a little bit and looking around and then just physically not being able to keep my eyes open and just like going right back to sleep.
Man.
And at some point, Allie got me into the bedroom for the night. And I woke up the next day when my alarm went off for work. I mean, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want something like that. I'd want a very low dose of just a...
Well, is that what Xanax does? I don't think that's the...
I don't think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Was it Xanax or was it something else?
I don't think it was. It was actually, it was a form of, it was an antihistamine that they use for anxiety too.
Okay.
And so I think it was just a really freaking strong antihistamine.
Yeah.
Knocked me out.
Knocked you out.
At that point, I was still, I was almost 285 pounds. So that knocked me out. Can't imagine what
it would do to the person that you got it from.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, like taking an emergency, well, it's just going to put me to sleep. Like I still need to function.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
that's, I have an appointment Wednesday next. So next Wednesday, or this upcoming Wednesday to establish a family doctor because I don't have a family doctor. So trying to get my life together a little bit. So that's step number one, get a family doctor. But my whole purpose in going and seeing him is getting on Xanax for my social anxiety because it's debilitating at this point. But I've been like asking around different people that are on like Xanax and similar things. And there's actually a lady that's on the worship team with us. And I had just mentioned that when we were chilling on our Christmas Eve services. And she was like, oh, I take Xanax at like a really low dose. And it really takes the edge off things. And I was like, does it make you feel like any different, like mentally? Do you feel like foggy or like slowed down or anything? Because that's my main concern. Yeah. And she said it doesn't make her feel like that at all. Like it only, just for her, it only takes the edge off. So if I could get that, that'd be beautiful. Yeah. That'd be great.
Why do you think, because like, I mean, there's studies that point to like the anxiety and stress and like that related stuff is at an all-time high, like in our society. Like, what do you think that, like, what points back to that?
100% social media and the internet. It's everything is so much more accessible. Every bad thing, every good thing, but every bad thing is so much more accessible. I literally just saw a tweet from Rainn Wilson, the guy that played Dwight in The Office, an article about why and how social media led to an all-time current high in anxiety and something else, like insecurity, I guess, with teen girls.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like that is spiked at an all-time high right now, and it's 100% because of social media. And I think anxiety is the same way. And also, we read that, you sent me that article about how
BuzzFeed article.
Yeah, about how millennials are the burnout generation. Yeah. From what I can remember of that article, basically the main synopsis is how we were taught from a very, very early age that you need to work. And why can't millennials seem to do like the simplest of tasks?
Adult, like the adulting term that we've coined.
Yeah.
Like that, why is that hard for us?
Right. Like paying your bills, or like it's been now over a year since I moved from Dalton. My driver's license is still my Dalton address. I just haven't changed it yet. Yeah. Because, I don't know. For me, a lot of the stuff like that plays into my social anxiety of like, I don't want to go and be around people. Stuff like that's really, even going to the DMV is like super hard for me to do. Yeah. And if you don't have anxiety, and I've talked to people that don't, and some people are really understanding and some people definitely are not. They say, well, just suck it up and do it. Everybody feels nervous about doing stuff. Yeah. But for me, it's something different. And for hundreds of thousands and millions of other people, it's, I know I'm not alone in that. Right.
And do you think, like, the flip side of that, of the, social media pointing back to like the root cause, do you think also that presence of awareness is a good thing for people being more open about like struggling with it? Like, because I think there's also been that kind of shift, especially like with some celebrity suicides and stuff, of just mental health awareness. Yeah. And how, again, because of social media and because of how connected things are, there is also the flip side of it that, the awareness factor is so much easier to put out there. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or I guess also too, does that play into why it seems more prevalent than ever because we're just more aware of it and it was already there to begin with?
I think maybe. I think it has gotten a lot worse.
Yeah.
Due to social media and the internet, and just being able to see all that negativity so often and so much of it in such a wide berth of that negativity. You're seeing stuff happening in your hometown. You're seeing stuff happening in Syria and the Middle East. You're seeing stuff happening all over the world. If you have a Twitter, within a minute of scrolling through Twitter. So I think that has made it worse. Also, I think that it was there before, but if you were to say, I have social anxiety in the 50s or 60s, I think you would have been laughed at by 95% of people.
That's true.
Like, what is that? Yeah. That's not a real thing. Like schizophrenia is somewhat new. Like not, like I'm going to sound real dumb if I try to guess at when, but I know that it's newer-ish. And I think most of this stuff is newer-ish. The more inner workings of the brain and those sorts of disorders, like anxiety and depression.
Yeah,
I think we're able to examine those things more, and those things have a lot more validity now than they did before. So I think that it's a fantastic thing that we're able to talk about those things more, and that they're becoming more recognizable as real problems and not just shoved off as you're being a pansy.
Yeah.
Is that an okay word to say?
I think so.
I guess we'll find out. Don't tweet at me. Or do. I want to know, actually, if that's a bad word to say or not.
There's another word. It's a P word. And to some people, it's definitely a cuss word.
Yeah.
To other people, it's not.
Yeah.
And there was actually happened on a football game. One of the announcers said it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
over the TV?
Yeah, on national TV.
Oh,
people on Twitter were like, how can he say that? And like other people were like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like it's really not a big, and I'm on the camp of like, I don't see the big problem with it.
Yeah.
But I do know some people get very offended by it for some reason.
Do you get offended by really anything that you hear?
Not really. I mean, unless it's like, see, to me, there's a difference in like, if someone's directing it at me, it's different than just like, I hear it in a movie or whatever.
Right.
And I don't really like people like, directing at other people either, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like to say it in just like normal talk.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling to put all this together right now.
Yeah,
but,
that's fine. You're doing a good job.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really offend me unless you're like directing it at me.
Yeah. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, which is really, really good. The Joe Rogan Experience. Fantastic conversationalist, but he uses a lot of profanity, which I have zero problem with. And I was playing it like on our TV, and I was on my laptop, and it was playing on the TV. And my mom came home from work, and I just kept listening to it. And she lasted maybe 3 minutes, and she was like, "That's it, shut that off," because she didn't want to listen to it.
Yeah,
she knows that I have no problem with profanity, but she was done with it. So her tolerance level is like nil, compared to mine, which I have. You could cuss around me all day long. I just don't care. And I also have just a different opinion of what cuss words are. Like just dropping an F-bomb in conversation, that's not cussing or cursing to me.
Yeah.
But if I were to say that at you in a negative way,
right,
that's what cursing is.
Yeah.
I think that we get that a little mixed up from time to time. But yeah, that was a pretty good conversation for you being as tired as you are. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. You mentioned that when you had gone on, or had taken that pill.
Yeah.
How you weren't able to keep your eyes open, like just physically not able to keep my eyes open. And that reminded me of a time when I was not physically able to keep my eyes open.
Oh, I totally forgot about this.
So, Chap, if you listen...
Can I just set up before we get to that point?
Yeah, do it.
So, this is back in, I would have been, maybe like freshman year of college.
Yeah.
That'd be after that, I guess, because I was home.
I was definitely still in high school.
You were definitely still in high school. I was maybe 19.
I'll say this too, a minor.
A minor. But your parents let me take you to Cincinnati.
Yeah, you were like, what, 18?
18 to 19.
I was 15 or something.
Yeah, and we were probably gone for a week?
Yeah, we were gone for over a week. It was like 9 days.
Yeah, and they were just like, yeah, you can take him. So props to me for having a trusting face, I guess.
It's the beer.
Right.
No, he's an adult.
So, yeah, they just let me take you to Cincinnati. And I don't even think your parents really knew me all that well.
You had previously dated my sister, so they knew you a little bit.
True, but I also really wasn't around a whole lot when I dated Megan.
Yeah,
so
I think you came over to the house like maybe twice.
I was in Cincinnati the whole time.
Yeah, you were.
But so this is a trip that your parents just let me take you with me to Cincinnati for a week. Mm-hmm. So that's the background.
Yeah. Well, we weren't in Cincinnati when this happened. We were at your house, your parents' house.
I'm pretty sure we were in Cincinnati.
Mm-mm. I remember we were at your parents' house because I remember sitting on your parents' couch.
I thought we were at the Faust's couch.
Mm-mm.
You sure?
I'm really sure. Yeah.
I remember this differently.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Then.
All right. I guess that's not super vital.
Yeah.
That whole setup would not have made sense now.
It's fine. The venue is not as important as the malicious actions that took place. So if you listen to last week's episode, our friend Chap, who we sprayed with bear mace.
Yes.
And we told that story on last week's episode. So if you haven't heard that, go back and listen to that one because that's a pretty good story. He was at your house. In my recollection of this story, he was at your house. I had driven over to hang out. And it was nighttime, only like, 9 o'clock or something?
Maybe.
Around there.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's make some sandwiches. So yeah, awesome. Let's get some turkey, some mayo, some bread. Awesome. I, being me, threw some pretzels on my sandwich because why not? I like a little crunch. I just like a little crunch on my sandwich at the time. I don't think I've put pretzels on a sandwich since. Also,
can't trust those pretzels anymore.
Peanut butter jelly and Doritos. I used to do that as a kid. Not bad. Not horrible. But I put pretzels on my sandwich, and unbeknownst to me, you two, while I wasn't looking, put a melatonin on my sandwich. In my sandwich. Just a whole melatonin pill. So I put the top on my sandwich and I start eating it.
Well, the thing is, when we put the melatonin pill, like we kind of smushed it into the bread before you had put the pretzels on.
Oh no!
And so when we watched you put the pretzels on, we were dying because we're like, he's gonna have because we actually thought like, oh, you're gonna catch it and think it's funny.
Uh-huh.
And then when you put the pretzels on, we was like, oh crap, he's just gonna chew right through it, and I even noticed.
Which I did not. There was too much crunch there because of the pretzels. I did get to like a part of the sandwich where I was like, oh, that must have been like a funky pretzel or something because it didn't taste quite right. Cut to me, like maybe just 45 minutes later, sitting on your couch, just dying, just trying to stay awake. And I remember like dozing off and you guys like laughing at me and being like, you all right over there?
I just remember you sitting up, just like your eyes just heavy as can be.
Yeah. I remember like trying to stand up for myself. Like I wanted to be cool because you guys were older than me. And I was like, man, I'm a real baby for falling asleep at 10 o'clock. And I just remember I kept saying, I normally stay up way later than this.
I remember you saying that.
I'm normally not this tired. I don't know what's going on.
Which made it to us even funnier.
So Moral of the story is you drugged me.
It was an all natural drug. Oh. Yeah.
I guess that's what friends do.
Friends drug each other. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. I guess it's forgotten and forgiven at this point.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why you're so tired today. A little payback action.
You've been holding it all these years.
That grudge.
It's been like 5 years ago. No, more than that.
More than that.
That would probably been 2011.
So that would have been 9 years ago.
Oh my!
No, 8 years ago.
You can't. 8 years ago.
I know.
Where is the time going?
I know, right? If I'm still around, if I don't move anywhere,
yeah,
which I might in the future, we'll talk about that in another episode. But if we stay within the same vicinity and stay friends and stay talking and all that stuff and grow into old age around one another, I think what kind of stories are we going to have? That's, I think, how that happens. Like old dudes just sitting around talking about the past forever.
Yeah.
For like all night.
Yeah.
I think that's how that happens. Because we would have basically experienced 90% of our lives around one another.
That's true.
You know?
Yep.
I also think that's a really exciting thing about marriage and something that I'm really looking forward to.
That's true.
Is like 30 years of marriage. Hopefully you don't hate each other and aren't clawing at each other's throats. But it's more of like, look at this life that we've experienced together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And you can look back on those moments and it's like a whole, just book of memories.
And like
that you share with this other person.
It was cool too, is like, even though like for most married people, not all, but like, you know, you get married, you have kids, and like you watch the kids grow up, you raise them, and like the kids go off and do their own thing. But then at the end of it, like you're still getting to like reminisce and
right.
Like you have those same experiences now together, like at the tail end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't want to wish my life away, but
I think that'll be a good time.
Yeah. I think
and
so too.
I'm looking forward to that phase of life.
Although I genuinely believe like it won't be retirement. It'll just be like me working at that age just because of how our economy is going to be and stuff.
I was just talking with my dad about this the other day. That I will probably not be able to retire.
Yeah.
I will have to work until I just die.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks, but
yeah.
That points back to a little bit of that BuzzFeed article that we were talking about, how you know, we're really the first generation that's not going to live better than our parents' generation.
Yeah.
And that plays into it too, is that we know, like, we come right out of college with $50,000 in debt because they told us to go to school to get a job that's not there anymore.
Right.
Or just isn't paying what it should pay.
Right.
And so, yeah, we just have that outlook of, well, I'm not going to retire, but I need money. Like I have to make money to pay my bills, to pay the student loan debt that I have.
Right.
And so we just work
right.
multiple jobs. And so then, yeah, the little things are hard to do. But
to expand on that just a little bit, I would say that good paying jobs are there.
Yeah.
They just don't look pretty.
That's true, actually.
They're like, especially around here, factory jobs, welding jobs are always hiring, especially right now. We're in a hiring boom right now.
Oh, yeah.
People are hiring right and left.
I'll tell you though, Allie, my wife works in HR, and it's like the jobs are there. They have such a hard time hiring people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because one, like it's not an attractive job, but also, you know, especially factory work, they all drug test.
Yeah.
And
nobody can pass a drug test.
Nobody can pass a drug test.
My dad works in construction. He's an estimator, so he works in the office, so he hears all this stuff. and they're having the same exact issue.
Yeah. It's like,
They will interview a guy. They go through like 2 rounds of interviews, and then on the 3rd interview, it's basically just a drug test. They'll do interview 1, interview 2, and then just ghost them for interview 3.
Yeah.
So won't show up.
Yeah. That's what one of the guys on the worship team was talking. He's like, I have jobs that need filled that they start at like $21 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and I cannot fill them
Mm.
because all the candidates that come in can't pass a drug test.
Yeah.
Or they can pass it at the interview, and then the first drug test, you know, in the employment, they have to fire him.
Yeah.
So it's like, man.
Yeah.
And 2, I'm just griping now. I sound like an old man.
Dude, that's fine. Yeah. William.
This is William talking. I really wish growing up that, and this isn't like on my parents, this is on the school system, that college wasn't pushed as the only choice.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you don't go to college, your life's going to suck.
Right.
Because like I went to college, I didn't finish college because 1, it's expensive, and 2, I still don't know what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But trade school and free training through high school,
apprenticeships.
Oh my goodness, you can start out so much for like I got a buddy who went in high school for diesel mechanics, and now let's see, this would be my 8 years out of high school. He and his wife are building a custom house. Yeah. His wife doesn't have to work. Yeah. He's a diesel mechanic and he makes great money. And he came out of high school without any debt. Like you would come out of college. 1, you're starting to work early. So that potential for retirement with a comes earlier. You start building up your wealth and savings for a house purchase, stuff like that. And again, not having debt is huge. Me and my wife are really trying hard to pay off our debt. And like compared to others, our debt's not bad. Like compared to other people with student loan debt, it's not that bad. But it's still like crippling. I know we were talking earlier. We figured it out. Like if we didn't have our debt and we were just paying like rent, you know, whatever, living expenses, we could probably get by with just my salary. Maybe. It would be a little tight, but like we can make it work. Like if we had kids right now, there's no way we can make it work. Like one of us works just to pay our debt. The other one works, you know, cover bills and stuff. And that points back to me. It points back to like the pressure. In my case, like Allie's went to college, got a degree. She did it really smart, where she took as many post-secondary and high school as she could, which I really appreciate. And like she went to community college and did it as cheap as she could. Still almost 20 grand in debt. Yeah. Excuse me. But like me, I went because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. Yeah. And if I didn't, then like, what was I going to do?
Did you even really know what you wanted to do going into college? No. That's the stupidest thing to me is why we push our kids to go to college not knowing what they want to go there for.
They're like, well, just get your gen eds. Well, what if what I want to do isn't like I don't require having to go to college at all? Yeah. And that 1 year set me back 12 grand. Yeah. And it's like, why? Why did you do that? Like that's the one regret I have now. Like, I mean, I had good experience in college. Like I had fun and learned stuff, but that and the gen eds that I got at the school I went to aren't really like core to any normal degree because I went to a Bible college. So it's like all like Bible college core classes. Yeah. So I don't know. That's why I can't justify going back now. Right. Because it's so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say unless you want to be something that you know requires a degree, doctor, lawyer, etc., you should take at least 2 years off.
And work.
Right. Work around. If you get into a job right out of high school, don't like it, find something else, move on to that next thing. Maybe you find out that you love that, or that leads to something else that you love. Yeah. And you find out, oh, look at that. I didn't have to go.
Yeah, but coming out of college or coming out of high school, you have no experience. So, like, how are you supposed to know? And so what you're saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But I don't know. And to get back to that article that we read a little bit, and also why I feel a little bit of why nobody wants to fill these jobs that we have around here, like welding and whatever. I said it doesn't look pretty, and that I think goes back to social media as well.
That's very true.
Like everything that you see on social media is these people living these wonderful lives. They have this awesome house and they travel all the time. They have a really cool job. I feel like our generation feels inadequate if we don't have a job that looks cool on Instagram.
Yep.
And people are like, older people would hear that and be like, that's the stupidest thing in the world. What does it matter? But I feel like because we grew up when we grew up, that those things affect us more.
Mm-hmm.
We take more value in those things. And we really shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't.
But we do.
And that's what, like, part of me is just like, that older generation, you're not going to understand it. So just kind of stop.
Yeah.
Like you don't understand unless you really try to make a point to educate yourself about our generation. And don't get me wrong, like there's plenty wrong with our generation, just like generation before us, just like the one coming after us. Like,
yeah.
But it's such the period we grew up in was so different than any other time, like any other formative years of any other generation, where you have like my age that grew up just on the tail end before the like real internet was a big thing. Like internet was there, but like you didn't have it in your house. I remember in early school, like looking up things in an encyclopedia instead of just Googling things. And then towards my later years, it was there.
Yeah.
But what other generation can say that something so really world changing of technology developed in that formative years,
right?
That then changes like the way that the generation before can relate to me.
Something that changed society drastically.
Yeah.
So exponentially changed how we operate as human beings.
Yeah. And not that it's a good thing, but yeah.
Right. I really think that it harmed us.
I think so too.
I think it should have been less public, I guess. It should have been more privatized.
It should have been more so for, like, I think it's great for, like, research and, like, medicine.
Yeah. And what we're doing with AI, I think, honestly, I talk about, like, conspiracy theories of AI taking over the world or whatever, but I really think that AI is an incredibly beneficial thing. Yeah. And that's helping, that pours over into medicine and things like that. But
yeah, I think if I could choose not to have the internet, I think we would be so much better off.
Yeah.
We'd be less connected, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I think that those people on your Facebook and Instagram and Twitter that you haven't talked to ever, or that you went to school with and now don't talk to anymore, but you still are friends with them on Facebook,
right?
Those relationships don't matter. No, if you're not actively seeking out to see that person in real life and be around that person and sit across from a table and have a conversation with that person, then that relationship is not a relationship at all.
No.
And yeah, I don't think that it's necessary.
Getting all sorts fired up right here at the end of the podcast.
Right.
So, moral of the story, kids. Delete your social media.
Yeah. Just don't even use the internet anymore.
Yeah. That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic.
I have to mail all of my bills in, though.
We'd have to make a CD and send this podcast to everyone. Only if you have the internet, get rid of the internet except for this podcast.
Yes.
Keep listening to this podcast.
Yeah. I'd have to have checks. Because, like,
oh, yeah.
I'd have to send my rent. I'd have to.
I did that in Pittsburgh because I didn't have internet in Pittsburgh. Oh. I didn't even have a smartphone in Pittsburgh. Oh. I had to go to the studio to get Wi-Fi. So every time I was at home, I was internetless.
There's part of me that wishes, like, I didn't have internet. My wife might kill me.
It's a lot more boring.
Yeah.
I will say. But I was doing a ton of reading back then.
This is a reading or developing my other hobbies that I have.
Woodworking or something?
Woodworking or photography.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just dive right into photography.
Yeah.
But now, like, I sit down.
You're in a YouTube hole all of a sudden.
And all of a sudden I'm in a YouTube hole and it's 6 hours later and it's time for bed and I got to work in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's too easy to do stuff like that.
Way too easy.
Well, we got a little dark.
We got dark.
Right at the end. So can we make it light?
Let's make it
right before we say goodbye.
Yes.
I just want to read 2 church signs that I found online.
All right.
All right. The first one is, and then we'll get out of here and you guys can go about your day. But the first one is, cremation is your last chance for a smoking hot body. That was a church sign. Second church sign. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Then I went to hell.
But what if I was a man?
Still go to hell because you weren't married.
No kissing.
No kissing until you're married.
Real quick, what like, because some people that they really do think like no kissing till you're married.
Oh, no, I'm not about that at all.
I was definitely not about that.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's, if you don't kiss before marriage, fine, your prerogative.
Yeah.
Show me in the Bible where it says don't kiss before marriage.
That's the thing. Like, you can't point to like a biblical thing. Like, I will say, this is one thing I really appreciate about my wife. Like, we kissed before we were married, but I'm her like first kiss.
Really?
Yeah, which I think is kind of like really cool. Like, something
that's awesome.
I definitely couldn't say the same for her, and I feel a little bad about it. But yeah, it's just something like a little cool. Like, oh, yeah, like first and hopefully only kiss. So, I mean, if I die, then yeah, do whatever you want.
Right.
That was one thing. Like, we kind of both told each other, like, don't be one of those that just will refuse to get remarried. Like, give it some time.
Yeah.
Like don't go out next month.
What's the appropriate amount of time? 5 years?
To me, I would say like 3.
3 years?
3 years.
I feel like that's an appropriate amount of time to move on.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit different than just like a breakup with your girlfriend.
Right.
Right. But I feel like if like she died, there would need to be a grieving process.
Oh, absolutely. And that definitely would be. Like, that would wreck my life.
Yeah.
But like, at some point, it's only healthy for me to move on. And like, it'd be the same thing for her if I were to go. Like, please don't like make this the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Remember me, remember good times, but move on.
Yeah.
So we got super dark again.
We got it. Gosh dang it. It's okay. It's fine. Well, if you're feeling sad, you're feeling blue, if we offended you, hey, come on now.
That was pretty solid. Did you plan that in your head?
No, I didn't. It just happened that way. I might say that at the end of every podcast.
There you go. That works.
If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling blue, if we offended you, I don't like it as much anymore now that it wasn't spontaneous.
The magic's gone.
Yeah. But if you're feeling any one of those things and you want to yell at us for making you cry, you can tweet at us at Twitter at MyFriendPodcast.
You can shoot us a electronic mail message at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com.
You've got mail. Remember that movie?
I do.
Haven't seen it. You can also find us on Back Row, on the Back Row Radio app. What that is, it's an online radio station.
So it's not radio?
But it is.
But it is.
But it's Christian. And you're thinking, whoa, wait, Christian radio?
Am I going to hear...
Yuck.
Am I going to hear pledge drives?
Am I going to hear pledge drives? Am I going to hear an obnoxious amount of the Tate Boys, which is what I call the Newsboys, now that Michael Tate is leading? No. No, you will not.
Nope, not.
They play some Tate Boys, and I judge them a little bit, but that's okay.
But they have a tasty selection.
They have a very tasty selection of music.
Actually, it's like if you are like you want to listen to a Christian radio station, I recommend Backer Radio over Airwine.
Oh, any Christian radio station that's out there right now. Yeah, this radio station is doing it better.
Yes, it is. Hands down.
Plus, you're not constantly, it starts with a B.
No.
I'm doing that motion, but you're not constantly berated is the word I'm looking for, with ads, with commercials.
That's true.
You'll get a few ads here and there.
I'm pretty sure you can become a partner if you want.
Yeah.
And it's greatly appreciated because I know Matt at Back Row, like this is something he loves doing. He's got a real good heart for it.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure I don't know their finances, not my business, but I'm sure he's probably funding some of this by himself.
Probably, yeah.
So if you like what you hear, consider it.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get punched in the face if you don't.
No.
Or made to feel guilty.
Right.
Enjoy the music. Enjoy the podcast. We're on there.
But you know what you will feel guilty for if you don't give money to? And that's a little something we're doing called
That's right.
You Are My Friend and I Trust You 5K for Compassion, which if you type that into GoFundMe, that's where you'll find it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise some money for Compassion. We're just trying to raise a measly $500. That's it. And then if we do that, we'll run a 5K.
Yeah.
And if you donate, you'll get a video of us training and running the 5K.
And updates.
Yeah. But
probably a live tweet.
Probably a live as we're doing it.
Live tweet.
Amazing.
Great idea.
But yes. But if you don't donate to this, shame on you.
That's right.
And the Lord's judgment is upon you. I don't want to say that. I felt horrible after I said that. I don't want to put the Lord's judgment upon anyone. Don't end it yet. We can't end on that. I have to recover. I have to bounce back because we're not going to edit it.
All right.
But he won't be mad, Jesus, but he'll be disappointed, probably.
He'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
It'll be like that Nancy Pelosi and whatever his name is, the meme. Have you seen that going around?
I haven't.
So, Trump did a sort of like State of the Union sort of thing with the whole shutdown thing. Well, the Democrats did basically like a live rebuttal as it was happening, but their faces are just off. Like, I shouldn't say awful looking. I'm sure they're pleasant, but like the demeanor that they wore were like disappointed parents, and they're like kind of older, and so people have been doing like disappointed parent memes off of that. So anyway, yes.
Well, if you want to avoid the Lord's disappointment,
donate
to 1, Back Row Radio.
Yes.
And 2, our GoFundMe,
which is
You Are My Friend and I Trust You 5K for Compassion. You can also, wherever you're listening to this podcast, scroll down to that description. The link's right there. It's super easy, guys.
While you're doing that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment if you can. You can find us on all the places such as iTunes, Podbean, YouTube. Spotify. Yes, YouTube as well.
Whatever that one app that Carol uses.
Yeah, the podcast app.
Is that what it's called?
No, that's just another app.
Oh.
That's the one my dad uses. Huh. But
it's really the easiest is just to search it in iTunes podcast.
Probably, yeah.
Especially if you have an iPhone.
Yeah, for sure. Have we took care of all our business here?
I think so. We really are stretching this one out.
What are we at now?
An hour, 4 minutes.
Get out of here. This is our longest one yet.
This is the longest one yet.
And you're so tired.
Yeah.
But dude, I want to tell you, and I want to tell you on the podcast for everybody to hear, you did a tremendous job. I know you're tired. I know it's really hard for you to soldier on, but I feel like the conversation was good.
I try to keep it going.
I feel like it was interesting and engaging. So
did it for the podcast.
For
you, listener.
You powered some almond butter.
I did, actually.
And apples before we started this. So I feel like that gave you the little boost you needed.
I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to getting home to eat that today. Donnie and I went to the store today, picked up some water, and I was like, I gotta get some almond butter. And I don't do the shopping in our house. Allie does, and I didn't realize how expensive almond butter is.
Do you care if I say how much it is?
Go ahead.
You paid $15 for that almond butter.
I paid $15 for the almond butter.
It's like it's smaller than a thing of Jif.
But it's like the one like really tasty treat that I can have right now. And like I was telling Donnie, like I look forward to my evenings because I get an apple.
Mm-hmm.
I have an apple slicer, so they're all nice and
Oh,
sliced.
yeah.
And get a little scoop of the almond butter.
I love that little routine stuff with food.
Right?
There was a stretch in middle school where I would get home from school every day. I had like a little man cave down in our basement, and I would go down there. I would watch Wild Hogs, and I would eat cheese dip and what's the not crackers, chips, cheese dip and chips.
Why did you watch Wild Hogs every day?
I don't know. I just liked it. And I liked eating it with the cheese dip because there's a scene where they go to a town and they have like a chili contest, and the cheese dip was like just like a little bit spicy.
Is that why you're such an old man now?
What do you mean?
Because that movie is like
it for old men?
4 old men, like
I think
with
it's
in the middle of midlife crisis.
That's a family movie for anybody. That's an all ages movie, and you can be 9 or 99. That movie touches hearts.
That's hilarious.
So
Every day, cheese dip and Wild Hogs.
Yep. Never shared that with anybody before. Podcast exclusive. You're wheeze right now. You gotta stop laughing, dude. You're killing me. Oh my goodness. Just the most strained wheeze I've ever heard.
Okay.
Hey, guess what?
What?
We're ending on a high note. Yeah, I'm crying.
Okay.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.